Welcome to pchow.com's video tutorial on how to configure your shadow copy settings. To get to our shadow copy settings, we will open our Start menu, right-click on Computer, and select Properties. Once our computer properties open, we will select Advanced System Settings. Once Advanced System Settings open, we will select our System Protection tab. And once we go to that, you will see underneath System Restore, you will see Protection Settings. And in the box here, you'll see our available drives, and you'll see that our local disk E and our local disk C has the protection on. And for me, my local disk C, as it probably is for you, is your System or Windows drive. That's where Windows is installed, and most likely your documents and settings and things like that that are important to you and your system. My local disk here, E, is just for storing data. So I do have some shadow copies on here, and I have it set up. So I can go ahead and select Configure here. And you can see on my data drive, it's only to restore previous versions of files. The reason why I do that is since it's not running my operating system or Windows, I don't need to worry about restoring system settings. But I do want previous versions of files. And I have it set at about 11%, and something around this number is a good number to start with. We can select OK to close that, and then we can go and select our local disk C and select Configure. And you will see that this is also at 11%, and our current usage is at 1 gigabyte, and that also that our restore settings are set to restore system settings and previous versions of files. That way, if a system file gets corrupted or gets accidentally deleted, we can restore it. But we can also restore our documents or any other data that's kept on the drive. Now, the disk usage number here next to 11% is the total space that is allocated to our shadow copies. And since I'm only at 1 gig for mine, that means I have a lot of room to play with, which will also get me more previous versions going back farther dates for each one of my files. If you would like to get farther back previous versions of your files, for instance, if you can only recover files from a day ago, you would need to increase this to whatever percentage will allow you to have enough data or shadow copy stored to go back to whatever date desired. And a lot of times it takes some fine-tuning of checking it after you set it a week or so later to see if you've used up the space set already. What you can also do is you can also reduce it, which will reduce the number of days, weeks, or months of shadow copies. By reducing it down to about what I'm using here, I will only keep shadow copies for probably a day. Anything farther back, or if I download any files, they probably won't be protected. So it's good to have it up enough to keep at least a few days worth or a week, and then also some space on top of it for any new files that you put on your computer so you don't have to go back and change it so often. Now I'm going to go ahead and click Apply to save these settings. OK to close the box, and I'll close it here, and we have completed configuring our Windows shadow copies. And this tutorial is brought to you by pchow.com.